Hey, 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 good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are around the world. Welcome. Welcome to this webinar with GoDaddy and WP Elevation. My name is Troy Dean, and over here we have...
Christina Romero, live from the United States.
How you doing, Christina?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good.
Awesome. And Andy is here from GoDaddy. Can we hear you, Andy?
Hey, everyone.
Awesome. Sweet. Beautiful. So, hey, if you guys can see us.
You want me to put up the slide?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Why don't we do a little screen share?
Alrighty.
And if you guys can hear us and see us, can you leave your name and the country you are from in the chat box so that we can get an affirmative that the technology is working? Because, we would sit here and do this if no one here anyway, because we just love this. But it makes it more fun if there are people here. Awesome. All right. Frank Bordenaro is here. Andy McIlwain is here. Hey, Anika is here from Australia. Hey, Anika, how you doing? Kay is here from Texas. Jeremy from the USA. Doc is here from Canada, otherwise known as Catherine Smith. Hey, Doc, how you doing? Paul is here from Washington, D.C. Sweet, Paul.
Hey, nice.
Elizabeth from the US. I've been watching Homeland recently. And the series, I've just been binging on it. It's amazing. It's so good. And I was in DC earlier this year. Christina showed me around for the first time. And seeing all these places in DC that feature in the show, it's kind of cool. It's like,
I know.
It's very cool. Vish is here from California. Leo Burns is here. Sweet. All right. Well, it looks like it's working. The technology is working.
Nice. Maybe we should take off our videos just to not be as distracting, and then just show them we were real people. Want to see we're real people. All right, here we go.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this webinar, and thank you to the good folk at GoDaddy for hosting us here. This is the little agenda we've got for this call. Hey, Randy's here from the USA. So we're going to get straight into this. This webinar, of course, is about website care plans, which is something that we are very passionate about because we've seen the difference that it has made in our businesses and our lives. And just in case you don't know who we are, my name is Troy Dean, and I am the co-founder of the Video User Manuals plugin, which is a little plugin that allows you to teach your clients how to use WordPress rather than you having to answer the same questions over and over again. We put a whole bunch of little video tutorials in your client's dashboard. And also the co-founder of WP Elevation, which is a business coaching program for WordPress consultants. And Christina is also one of our coaches. So Christina, how did you, where are you from and what's your background?
Yes, I'm here in Maryland, the United States, and I actually stumbled upon Troy and WP Elevation as a student over 3 years ago and learned so much specifically in the area of care plans that ended up creating ongoing revenue in my business that allowed me to come on as a coach at WP Elevation and joint partner with Troy on other really exciting things. And it's been such a joy to be able to teach other people what I've learned. And that's going to be a good kind of nugget of what we're going to talk about today. So.
Yeah, awesome. And the reason that we are so passionate about, the reason that I know I'm so passionate about care plans, and I know I can speak on behalf of Christina here as well, is that when you, just to kind of set the scene a little bit, when you're a freelancer or doing consulting work with clients, you kind of have to say yes to everything that walks in the door, right? Because we need the work and we need the money and we're going to pay the bills and we're trying to grow our business. And having some recurring revenue in the business just gives you a little bit of breathing room so you can be a little sort of pickier and choosier about the projects that you take on and the clients that you work with. So I'm sure we've all had those clients that you start working with and there's that little voice in the back of your head that's saying, there's just something not quite right about this and I wish I hadn't taken this project on. But as I said, you need the work. So having some recurring revenue in your business really does free you up and give you some breathing space and allow you to become a specialist and specialize in the kind of work that you want to do and the work that you're best at. So
right,
and
exactly.
We've had some success with this, and now we just want to share what we've learned with you guys. So
yes,
and Christina, you're going to kind of drive most of this because this really is your wheelhouse. I mean, you kind of took run with it. And you've become,
it's my favorite thing to talk about.
Become the expert at it, right?
It's my favorite thing to talk about. I know that sounds ridiculously silly, but I just got back from WordCamp Baltimore, And I just remember like my struggles as a freelancer, my struggles of going feast and famine, feast and famine. I'd have a project and I'd have no work. And I had 2 kids at the time when I learned about care plans. Now I have 3 kids. And basically the money that comes in from these care plans that I have my clients on sustains my operating costs, my cost of my staff. Now I'm no longer just a freelancer, but I have staff. This allows me to take vacations, to not worry about money coming in every month. Everything's paid for from just the care plans alone. So project work is just icing on the cake. And I remember being at WordCamp Baltimore and hearing all these people's stories about, these feast or famine things and all these struggles. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I wish you were on the GoDaddy webinar. And this would solve your problem. So anyway, I'm a big believer in how this can revolutionize and change a business of a person who builds websites, especially with WordPress. And it changed it for me. And there's going to be a lot in here. So I'm just going to kind of jump into the training slide here so we can speak specifically about this.
Perfect.
There's a lot in this webinar. This is a series, WP Elevation. This is like a course, a couple courses, like a webinar, a few coaching calls, some downloads. It's just tons and tons of stuff. So what we try to do is pack this as best we can with some of the most essential things you need to know. And then we'll have a Q&A session towards the end of this webinar, and we'll try to address as much questions as you have as these things pop up, because this might be news to you. You never knew about it before, or maybe you have, but we're doing it like how I've been doing it. So if you have a question, there's a Q&A box. Go ahead and pop it in there as we go through this stuff, and then we'll address it at the end. Sound good? Okay. So I'm going to start with the state of WordPress. Now, if you know Matt Mullenweg always gives his state of the union, state of WordPress. And this is my state of WordPress. If anyone's been working with WordPress, we know a couple of facts about WordPress, of almost why we work with WordPress. So the first is, of course, the famous how much of the internet it powers. So of all sites as of 2015, it was 25%. And that doesn't even count CMSs. So among CMSs, it's about 60%. So we're talking about a huge share of the market of WordPress and how it's growing. So we look at that graphic we see in the last 4 years, 13% to 25%. It's crazy. So we only know that this need is continuing to grow, to have care plans for people who have WordPress websites. So I'm assuming if you're on the call, if you're on this webinar, you work with WordPress websites, because that's what we're talking about with care. Now, if you work with Joomla and Drupal and Magento, the same concept applies. So I don't want to count those out. But with WordPress, we're mostly going to focus on that for this webinar. Now, here's the other fact about WordPress. These are the WordPress releases. In the past, 6 months? So those are just the releases. So so you have your clients on WordPress. It's what you think they think it's a set and forget, and then look at that. I mean, with every update, it's probably going to affect certain things on the way things react visually, or even with these security releases, websites need to be updated. So just show your clients that graphic there. I mean, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Then you have this. These are just the top 7 queried latest plugin vulnerabilities. And that's just look at the latest plugin vulnerabilities. I took this screenshot a few days ago. So I took this screenshot on the 17th, I think. So, WordPress is in need of constant care, just from a software and plugin angle. Okay, it's not even up for negotiation. Everybody sees it for security, for performance. It needs to be taken care of. Now, this isn't just something I made up. There is a website care market, and the website care market is very active right now, because if we all know WordPress, yes, there might be some plugins that you can check to automatically update, but everybody wants that individual attention. Everybody wants to know someone is there updating the site and making sure it's not breaking. So we have, if you take a look at this, care plans that are starting at $50 a month just for updates. And then you have some other plans that might roll in some development time, and those kind of shoot up the price. I remember giving this talk at WordCamp Boston about the importance of care plans. And at the end for the Q&A session, a woman raised her hand and she said, I've been charging my clients $5 a month for website care plans. And I said, this talk is for you. So, I mean, don't sell yourself short just for the process of updating a website software, just updating WordPress and plugins alone. You can look at the website care market and very easily see there's sort of a baseline there. And that's not even taking into account the fact that your clients trust you. So they don't want to go with a service like this of maybe who they don't know and who they don't know is on the other side. With you, they actually get you. And so they're going to have that element of trust. So you can mark up that price because that's your value that you're adding alone, just without adding anything else. Okay, so now that I've made that case, website care plans are key to a successful web-based business. Okay, so if you don't know how much revenue you're going to make every month, that's a problem. That is a problem. If you've worked on client sites at all, even for the last 2 years, you probably have clients you can move on to a care plan. If you have clients whose websites you've been updating without charging them, that's a problem. You can move them onto website care plans. So to give you a factor figure, half of my revenue this year will be from care plans. 50% of my revenue will be from care plans. That's a guarantee every month. I know what I'm going to be have to work with every month. So I can hire staff. I can hire a virtual assistant. I can hire a front-end developer. I can even hire those people to take care of my care plans for me. Their entire salary is paid for above and beyond. So when project work comes in, it's not my problem. I get to have a team to help support. So I look at it like a wheel, and at the center of the wheel is care plans. And then from that, you can shoot off growing your business with marketing, developing projects, all these little spokes to the wheel that make it turn. And at the hub right there is your website care plans. That's how I like to structure my business. That's how I've been able to run a business with taking care of a family as a full-time mom and a full-time website businesswoman. So I really believe in this strongly. And I do believe that once people shift their mindset over to the fact that your clients should be having this very valuable service, and that you should be providing it for a price they should be charged. Then you'll very quickly see how this becomes such a staple of your business. Sound good? Troy, you want to add on anything there to my little state of WordPress?
No, I think it's just, from my experience, and I've been to quite a few WordCamps in different countries all over the world and spoken to lots and lots and lots of WordPress developers and consultants and freelancers. And I think it's just a mindset thing. So I just would encourage anyone tuning into this call to understand that just because WordPress is free, open source software, and it has over 30,000 amazing free plugins available in the repository, doesn't mean that the solutions that you're providing to your clients are not extremely valuable. So the fact that WordPress is extremely efficient and extensible and allows us to produce website solutions very quickly and very efficiently at a very low cost doesn't mean that it's not worth a lot to our customers. It just means that as the technology industry, we've become very good at optimizing our manufacturing process, which is pulling together WordPress and these plugins and these themes to provide a solution. So just encourage everyone to think about, if you're feeling like, well, the software's free, how can we charge any more than $5 a month to update it? Just maybe take that jacket off for now and hang it on the coat rack, and maybe suspend that belief just for the next 45 minutes or so, and keep an open mind to what it is we're about to show you. Because as I said, just because the software is free doesn't mean that it's not extremely valuable to your customer.
Fantastic. Yep, absolutely. So to jump right into the talking points, because then I can spin off of that here, really what this is about is creating valuable plans. So making sure that your plan is packed with value to make yourself stand apart and to make it something that they can't live without, right? So the secret is value. And when we talk about value, there's, of course, the standard stuff I showed you there about updating WordPress and updating plugins, but there's a little bit more that you can add on to your plans in terms of value. So when we talk about value adds, we can talk about providing support time. I think it was Chris Lemma, Troy, that said, when your clients pay you $50 to update something on their site, they're not paying you to update your site. They're paying for your phone number. I think it was him who said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So if you've built the site for your client, and you expect to walk away, this was an eye-opening moment for me. Troy taught me this. They don't go away. They never go away. Most of the time they go away. So if they have a problem at all, guess who they're going to email? Guess who they're going to call? You. So if you have them on a care plan, no matter, your time is sort of set aside like a retainer, like a lawyer's retainer. And they have that time set aside every month for when those emergencies come up. And it's not like a fire engine truck that you're just always pulling up to put out a fire, but rather you're being proactive on the site, and then you have that support time there. So when they request stuff, because it's inevitable that they will, it's already rolled into the care plan. Other things we really like are coaching calls or strategy calls. Everyone who has a website has different needs on the website, and a lot of the small business sites, a lot that we do as WordPress freelancers, come with wanting to attract business. So even if you have very little knowledge of how one attracts business on their website, you probably know more than the client. So you can always budget in or add on some coaching calls or strategy calls. Also, there's some wonderful ManageWP add-ons we'll talk about, because we use ManageWP to update websites, and there's my spelling error. I knew there would be a spelling error, Troy. And then level of access, right? Of course, because that's why I sent it to you before. I was like, he'll catch it. Level of access, email or phone. So a lot of times you can structure your plans that only a certain lower level plan gets email, and then a higher level can get phone access. And then, of course, premium plugin licenses. A lot of people don't think about this, but you might want to roll in premium plugins to like Gravity Forms, or some kind of caching plugin like WP Rocket. And they are able to take advantage of your developer license as long as they're on a plan. Some other things, you might have SEO services, you might have social media services, you might have email marketing services, you might create content creation with blogs. You don't even have to write the blog yourself. There's tons of services out there where you could contract to get the blog written for a particular price for your client. And then, of course, ongoing training. Troy and his team developed video user manuals, and it's a wonderful little plugin that you can activate. And inside the dashboard of WordPress, you get all of this WordPress training. And guess what? They update it every time a WordPress release is released. So it's always current. Just activating that plugin on your client site, you can say, we give you recent up-to-date tutorials about WordPress, and whenever there's a new release, you'll have the latest tutorials. And even though someone else is doing it, that can still be a value add. Lastly, there's some things to think about rolling in that might be not stated, but necessarily create, sort of show the client the value. And that's the analytics reporting of what you've done on the website. Google Analytics, this is done really well with ManageWP's client report, the update reporting and the analytics reporting. And then I say resource emails or don't worry emails. And that's just kind of reaching out to the client. Sometimes they never ask for things. And it's always nice to ping them an email and say, hey, I was surfing the internet the other day, and since you work with kids in the nonprofit space, this is a lovely email. This is a lovely blog about marketing for nonprofits. Something like that. And then don't worry emails are what I like to send when we do something that they're not aware of. For example, a downtime report. We see that there was downtime for 5 minutes or something like that. And we call the host and we find out, oh no, the host was just working on the server. Well, the client may have no clue that happened, but sometimes we shoot an email and say, oh, just don't worry, we checked into this for you, and they were working on the server, all is well. Things like that kind of aren't stated in your plans, but they're kind of little things that you do that just help the client see you're working, because that's always really important. Okay, now the most important question. This is always the most important question, right, Troy? This is,
yeah, of course, absolutely.
I don't care what you're saying, Troy. Just get to how much can I charge? How much can I charge? So you all had that question in the back of your head before you even started this webinar. Well, maybe they'll show me how much they charge for plans. Well, I think, Troy, we could almost do an entire webinar on how much should I charge and almost working with people one-on-one, because it really comes down to a lot of different things. First of all, I encourage you to look at the market. overall, just look at the market of where you live. Makes a big difference because a lot of people's cost of living are different in different areas. And then just the natural value you add. Everyone brings their own experience to the table. And so you definitely should not charge any less than what the current market is providing for website maintenance, which is around $50 a month. At the lowest plan, I think is $30 a month I've seen of just basic updating websites and updating plugins. I've had people say, oh, but I only charged him $500 for a website. So we have a member, Troy, who I coached on care plans. And one of her things to me was she showed me a spreadsheet and next to all of her clients, she put how much they paid for the website, as if that made a difference to how much they should pay to maintain the website. It's not a percentage. So it's not 10% of how much you made the website for. Is that what you should charge for a site? It really is about the value adds you bring and really what, I think what the market asks for, and then the value add on top of that to sort of increase the plan, right? So she was thinking, oh, if I only charge them $500 for a website, I can't ask them to pay $99 a month. Well, lo and behold, she put up her plans and she said that was the price and they went forward with it. So, and it really comes down to the client of how much they want, how much you communicate to them the importance of this plan. And then also, how much you say that this is how they're going to work with you moving forward. So it's those two things come together. Yeah.
Interestingly, Dave Fuller, one of our members, WP Elevation members here in Melbourne, his entire business is just website care plans. So if you're one of his clients and you go to him and you say, Dave, I've heard lots of good things about you. I really want to work with you. How much is it to build a website? He says, it's $597 a month. He's like, what do you mean? Like normally website, so in Australia, in Dave's market, websites, on average, somewhere between sort of $4,000 and $7,000 for the kind of websites that he built. They're like, what do you mean? Like, don't I have to pay $5,000 up front? He's like, no, you just pay $597 a month and this is what you get. So his entire business is subscription-based website care plans, which include design and development work up front, but you're on like a 12-month contract minimum. And so his entire business is basically, he shifted his entire model to care plans.
Exactly. And I've seen all kinds that a couple of our members have done that and have been hesitant and then very happy with it. And then I've seen people really roll in a lot of different services creatively. I think one of our members that came in February, I think within 2 months he had 3 people paying him $500 a month, and he had like 4 care plans, but he was making $2,000 a month. Was very impressed with that. So anyway, for this webinar, we are going to have some downloads for you. And I'm not going to go over them in great detail because you're going to download them and then you're going to go to town on them. But one first download here we have is just an example of some care plans. I really like spreadsheets a lot. And this is from one of our members. And he kind of itemized out the different features of the care plan and then the different levels. I think the levels are key. Having the low level plan, the medium plan, and then the higher plan. And what you really want to do is aim for that middle plan, that's the sweet spot. That's what you want to get everybody on. So you want to take a couple things away from the basic plan that are very valuable that you think people are going to want to get. And then you want to like overpack the higher plan. So it almost seems like too much. And then people will hit the middle plan because the higher plan makes the middle plan look like a deal.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. My wife and I were shopping for a mattress a few years ago, and I love latex mattresses, right? Not that we don't have one at the moment. I'm still waging that battle. But we walked into this like premium bedding shop, and so I instantly walked straight for the most expensive one. It was like $3,000, and she's like, that's ridiculous. We're not spending $3,000 on a mattress. And so she's looking at the mid-tier one, which was about $1,800. And then there was another one that like the entry level was like $1,100. And she said to me, she goes, if this like $3,000 one is so good, why do they bother making the $1,800 one? Like, why don't they just say, well, here's the best mattress in the world. It's $3,000. I said, well, because not everyone can afford the $3,000 one. And she said, well, why don't they just make the $1,800 one the best mattress and sell it at $1,800? And I said, because if the $1,800 one was the most expensive one, everyone would buy the $1,100 one. So you said, you got to have the $3,000 one because that anchors the $1,800 one as extremely good value, because only a small percentage of people are going to buy the $3,000 one. But if you don't have it there, you're not going to sell as many of the $1,800 one. So if the $1,800 one's the most expensive, you're going to sell more of the $1,100 one. She's like, and so the penny drops. She's like, so the $3,000 one is just here to kind of scare you off a bit so that you buy the $1,800 one. I was like, exactly. Unless you're like me, of course, and I just want to buy, the top range of everything. So this is exactly the same argument here. And in fact, Ashley, our member in New Zealand, put this spreadsheet together when he first joined WP Elevation over 3.5 years ago, because he wanted to plan out his care plans, and he shared this with the community, and he put the elite plan here exactly for that reason. So the idea here is exactly what Christina said. The middle plan is the one that you want to sell the most of. That's the one that's the most profitable for your business and the one that's the easiest to deliver. But you have the elite plan here just as a positioning exercise to encourage more people to buy the premium.
Yes, exactly. Before I move on, I just want to give a highlight. We are going to then talk about getting clients on these plans. And then after that, the tools for actually executing them. So in case someone has to jump off, there will be a recording of this webinar, right, Andy? So I think everyone will get the recording. So don't fear. We're going to talk about getting clients on the plans and then the tools to carry this out.
And we're going to do some live Q&A, so you should probably try and stay on the call if you can.
Stay on the call. Getting clients on the plan. So that's the next question. How much should I charge? So this is so funny because I structured this way, Troy, because people actually carrying out these plans is like the bottom of their list. It really is. The first thing everyone asks is, how much can I charge? And then two, how do I get clients on plans? Yeah. Then they worry about how to actually carry out the
Exactly. And in fact, can I just touch on something in terms of how much should you charge? The goal for me, the reason that pricing is so difficult to talk about is because every business is different, right? And the reason that there's no kind of benchmark or blueprint for pricing is because every business runs slightly differently. But the golden rule is this: you need to charge whatever it is that makes it profitable for your business and your situation to deliver that plan to that customer. So if you run your numbers and you put together your spreadsheet and you say, okay, how long is it going to take to do this? And what team members can I get to do that? Or am I doing this on my own? How long is it going to take? What tools can I use? And we'll show you a little bit about that in a moment. But if you say, okay, my time is worth roughly, whatever it is, let's just make something up and say it's, $50 an hour. I'm just making something up. You say it's going to take me 2 hours to deliver this care plan every month for this particular client, then you can't charge $49 a month because it just doesn't make any sense and you're actually losing money. So the golden rule with pricing is that it has to be profitable for your business. And now your job and what we'll try and help you do is optimize your workflow and your process so that you can deliver that value to that client at a price point that makes it a no-brainer for the client and makes it profitable for you. That's the sweet spot that you've got to find. So I just wanted to chime in and say that, just be honest with yourself and run your numbers and realize that if you're doing work for clients that's not profitable, then you're actually funding their business and not sustainable.
Exactly. When I first started with these care plans, my lowest plan was $60, which included 30 minutes of support time. My middle plan was $100, which included 1 hour support time. And then I had a $150 plan just to make the $100 plan look better. I don't even remember what was in it. Maybe it was 2 hours. I don't remember the biggest difference. But the middle plan, the higher plan, had one-on-one coaching calls or strategy calls. Now, I was doing all of that myself. So at the time, that really was my sort of breaking point of profit. I was thinking, well, this was before, I was using ManageWP, but this was before Orion, the latest release that makes my life easier. But I was doing them all myself on ManageWP's older system, and it would take me about 30 minutes to do an update and a report. And then there was the 30 minutes of support time. So I thought, well, sometimes they won't use the support time. Sometimes they will. So that's a good break-even point for me. But then I got a whole bunch of clients that I thought, oh, I can hire someone. So now I have staff in the Philippines and they run the care plans. And my profit is tremendously increased. So now my hands aren't in it, and it still may take my team member 20 minutes to update a site the way that I like to do it, which I'll show you guys how I do it. But it doesn't, I mean, I just make tremendous more profit on top of that. Well, now my care plans are $100 at the lowest for 30 minutes, $200 for the 1 hour, and I don't know, someone has to check my site. See how I do not care about the premium one. It's like $300 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know. But I had to raise my prices because I kept getting a lot of demand. So because I don't know, maybe GoDaddy Pro and all my exposure with speaking and everything, I get a lot of people asking me to come on the plans now. So I thought, well, supply and demand. So they just they went on up. Because I just want people who are more serious about taking care of their site. So that's where we are today. So that gives anyone some guidelines. That's some real numbers on that. All right.
Cool. Thanks for sharing.
Moving on to the next important question. Getting clients on plans. All right. So there's two types of things we need to discuss. One, your current client list and how to get them on plans, and then attracting new clients. So the first, I think the easiest is to actually take your current client list, or your past client list, I should probably say, your past client list, anyone who was a client at one point, and move them on to website care plans. Now, the best way to do this, and I've got this down to a science, because I've worked with a couple members one-on-one, and this works. That's the best I can say. This strategy works. So the first thing you want to do is make the case for why website care is important. And the best way to make that case is in a blog post. So you're going to write a blog post, and you're going to state a couple of things I showed you in the earlier slides about how popular WordPress is. And so therefore, it's really important to update the software with all these releases and plugin vulnerabilities, and also, having services, requesting your services and all of that. So you can make that case, and I'll show you an example blog post. Then after you've made the blog post, you want to craft an email to that past client list. We'll show you an example of that as a download. And what you want to point out in the email is that latest news, something exciting has happened. I've instituted these website care plans. And if you have people on care plans that you had before, but at a low price, all you have to do is just make an announcement of why there's a change. And it can be as simple as, we've gotten a new software. So if you sign on to Orion with ManageWP, you know your costs. So you can say, we've gotten some new software, we've hired a team, it's our 1-year anniversary of being in business, it's our 10-year anniversary of being in business, I changed my socks today. Whatever it needs to be something new, something has happened. And because this something has happened, they have to get on the website care plan. So however you want to craft that, we'll show you an example. Then you're going to, most people can't do this, but this is what really works. Then you're going to draw a line in the sand. And to me, the line in the sand is this. You send out the email saying, this is how I work. This is how I work now. So if you want to continue working with me, you got to be on a website care plan, because websites go awry, things happen, and I'm not going to be the fire engine anymore. I'm not going to come riding in and put out the fire, because that costs me 3 times the hours of me just maintaining it every single month. So drawing a line in the sand and saying this is how you work now, and if they want to work with you, they have to be on a care plan, is really, really effective. So a couple tips. If you send out the email, put the link to the blog post in the email. No one really wants to read a very long blog post about why it's important to update websites and why plugin vulnerabilities happen, security and all that stuff. Put the link to the blog post on your site in that email. And what's really cool is if you send it out with something like MailChimp, you're able to track whether they clicked that link or not. So you'll see if they opened the email, and then you'll see if they clicked that link. So then you know they really might be interested. So if they didn't email you back, you can follow up with them and things like that. So it's really important to have that blog post to make the case. Send out the email with the link, and then you might have to draw that line in the sand. And the way that goes is the person comes back to you 3 months after receiving your email and says, my site's not working right now. And you say, remember that email I sent you that said you need to be on a website care plan? Yeah, I actually didn't mean that. So that's how that works. And then they go, oh, I didn't know that's what you meant. Yeah, no, that's what I meant.
You sound like you're speaking. You sound like you're speaking from experience here, Christina.
Oh, yes. This is how they all worked out. I got 4 people right away, people. I'm on 40 now. Okay. So it started with 4. All right. And I had a good list of clients at the time. So it's just been, it was like 6 months, I think, over a 6-month period of time of people kind of coming back and being like, can you do this? And then it's like, no, we have care plans and that's how you work with me. And then they jump on a care plan. So eventually I got there. All right. So I hope that makes sense. I'm sure we'll get some questions on that, but let me show you real quick the downloads. This is a snapshot of a sample blog post. Do not use this wording. Warning, warning. Tweak this, make it your own. What I'm trying to give you is an example of, like, you want to identify the problem, you want to bust a myth. So for your blog post, you want to kind of follow this format and just scrap it and put in your own words and your own spin on it. We've given this out to a lot of people. So you don't want the same thing out there for your own safety.
And just to reiterate, the reason we do this is because one of the questions we get a lot is, great, these are all great ideas, but now there's a whole bunch of work. I need to go and write a blog post. I've never written blog posts before. I'm not very good at it. So we're just trying to help you overcome whatever hurdles you might have between where you are now and where you want to be with this care plan journey. So the reason we give you this is, as Christina said, not so that you can just copy and paste it and deploy it, because that wouldn't be great for anyone, but just so that you understand the structure of a blog post like this. And you can, please don't run this through an article spinner. Actually look at it and rewrite it in your own words and make your own case. But this actually gives you a framework so that you're not looking at a blank page going, well, I don't know how to write a blog post. So we're just trying to give you as much assistance as we can and as much tactical stuff as we can.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. And this also gives you a chance, I think, to convince yourself of why this is important, because you really need to have that mindset shift that this is important. And if you've ever restored a hacked website, you'll become very familiar why this is important. And we're not smelling snake oil here. I mean, this really is a need for taking care of websites. And then this is a sample email. This is, okay to kind of lift a little bit if you want. But this is a sample email that sort of states a little bit of the case. You can kind of take this and reword it, take it as inspiration. And like I said, you don't need a whole bunch of the chunk about the website. You can kind of link to your blog post at that point if you want, rather than stating why this is important and so on and so forth. So you'll have both of those downloads to take and work on and then implement to try to move those clients onto care plans. So it's helpful. Okay, point number 2, attracting new clients. Now, a lot of people are new to WordPress, and a lot of people have come and been, how do I get new clients on care plans? I don't have any clients. How do I get care plans? And I mean, there's a little bit of, well, you got to get clients in general. I mean, you just can't pluck them out of the air. I mean, you got to work to get clients, period, let alone care plan clients. So you have to do the same sort of tools that you're doing to reach out for new work to begin with. But the key with this now is that you're going to start probably from the angle of website care maintenance, which you may not have started from before. So you might get, instead of getting people who have brand new projects, you might get people who have existing websites, and maybe you'll redesign it, or maybe you'll add on new features, but now they become a care plan client. So with attracting new clients, or attracting any clients at all, start with a lead magnet. And a lead magnet is simply a download that you have that people need to enter their email address in order to receive. So this can be easily turned on your site with a plugin that both Troy and I love, which is Opt-in Monster. And you can create a nice little pop-up form and something that sounds really exciting, and then they put in their email address to download it. What I would suggest is, if you really want to build up the care plan clients, put that lead magnet towards the angle of caring for your website. So if you target small business owners of a particular niche, let's say lawyers, you might have a lead magnet that says how to keep your law website up to date, running well. And then you have this great checklist. And at the bottom of the checklist, you're like, don't want to do this yourself? Well, you can hire us with our website care plans. And that's just
perfect.
the recipe really for how this works. And so now you have their email, and now you can follow up with them on whatever means you want to um, in order to move them onto care plans. So offer the download with an email capture, and then remarket your blog post. So that's really good kind of little loop there. If you have something like MailChimp automation or ActiveCampaign, that they can automatically go into an email sequence that you follow up with them. Thanks for the download. I hope you really like it. Reach out with any questions. And then 7 days later, reach out with a blog post. Don't know if you saw, but I wrote a blog post about why this is important. And then they receive that and they're like, man, this person really knows their stuff. So, so the best way to attract new clients is to really try and niche. I mean, after 3+ years with you, Troy, and you talking about niche and target markets, it has proven itself time and time again. I was recently talking to one of our members, and she said, I'm just having the hardest time creating what she was creating for her target market. I said, what's your target market? And she said, small business. It was small business owners. Okay, that was she's like, now it's authors, coaches, and speakers. And I said, so influencers. She's like, yes. So you really have to dig deep. You have to really, because it wasn't just authors, coaches, and speakers. It was influencers, people who want to influence other people, and they just happen to do it through writing a book, through coaching, and through speaking. So you got to really dig deep. If you're saying small business owners, for the longest time, I said small business owners, but that was not true. That was not true at all. I had entrepreneurial-minded small business owners who had no team. That was my sweet spot. And they all lived in Southern California. Not that was really, it was almost an accident. And so I wanted clients who were actually more entrepreneurial focused, that they really wanted to almost build an empire with what they were doing, but they were at stage 1 with just a small team. Now that's changing altogether and even niching further, but that's neither here nor there. So moving on from that, we'll have the download for you. Go ahead, Troy. Yeah.
Can I just touch base on that? I think a couple of things. The problem, the challenge with as we say in Australia, with niching, the challenge with choosing a niche is that, and I did this for years, right? I wanted to target small business owners. And then I said, I'll target small business owners who are in professional services like accountants and lawyers and financial planners and IT consultants. And it was still too broad. And the problem is that when you start to think about a niche, you instantly suffer FOMO. So you instantly think, all right, if I'm just going to serve accountants, what if a law firm calls me up and says, we want you to come and talk to us about building a website, and we've got $5,000? Am I going to say no because I now just service accountants? And the reality is, of course, you're not going to say no to work that comes in when you need the work if they're a good fit for your business. So for example, if I was just focusing on accountants and a motor mechanic called me up and said, hey man, I've got $500. Can you help me build a website? I might say, you know what? I just can't help you for that budget. I'm happy to refer you on, but I've got a full dance card right now. That's just not within, what I can do. But if a mechanic calls up and says, I've got $5,000 for a website, but I heard you only deal with accountants. Well, of course I'm going to have a conversation with the guy, because I'd be crazy to turn that work down. The point is, you can't market to everyone, because if you try, you end up watering down your marketing message so much that it becomes bland and it becomes beige, because you're trying to keep everyone happy. You're trying to appeal to everyone. You can't market to small business. I mean, in a broad brushstroke you can, but if you really want to resonate with your audience, you need to speak exactly to them. And I'll give you an example. I was doing some research this morning for some of our members who are having this challenge with niching. And I found a conference called the Milo Conference, M-I-L-O. I'm like, oh, what's that about? So I clicked on it. I cannot believe it. It's a conference. It's a 3-day conference every year. That is, and Milo stands for Macs in Law Offices. These are lawyers who use Apple Macintosh computers in their law offices, right? So there is an entire session on using Evernote on the Mac to increase productivity and note-taking for lawyers, right? And I'm thinking, this is fantastic. Like, what a great niche, right? What a great niche, Macs in law offices. Now, if you were, for example, if you were targeting lawyers and you're a web designer or a WordPress freelancer like you guys on this call right now, I would be going to that conference. I would be trying to find out who the speakers are at that conference. I'd be reaching out to them, and I would be sharing my blog post with everyone who speaks at that conference. And if they were lawyers, my blog post might be something like keeping your website secure and super productive for your legal practice, because that's what lawyers are interested in. They're interested in security and productivity because they're really busy and they want the peace of mind that their website is just doing its job and it's not going to get hacked. And, you know, maybe there's some other legal ramifications that they need to make sure are in place. So understanding who your audience is and what their desires are and what their problems are and what their headaches are will give you an insight into how to spin what Christine is talking about here, the blog posts and the emails, to really resonate with your audience and not be generic. You want to get really specific and talk to them so that they understand, wow, this person understands my problem. They know what they're talking about. They're clearly really good at what they do and they're being really helpful and they're not trying to sell me anything. They're just adding value and being super helpful.
Mm-hmm. Wonderfully put. Yes. Milo. I love that. I saw you posted that.
It's great.
Fantastic.
I want to go to that conference just because I'm a Mac nerd. I'm not a lawyer, but I just want to hang out with them.
I know. And, you know, I've had a few lawyers on my care plans. They get it because they deal with retainers all the time. And the idea of, you know, saving someone's time and putting it aside every month. So, okay. Well, our third and final topic is number 3. I didn't know if I put in 3 or 4 topics. I think 3. Tools for the care plan. So now that we've gotten down to why they're important and how you add value and then how you reach out to those clients, let's actually talk about carrying out those care plans and the maintenance of those care plans. And of course, the tool of choice and my favorite tool is ManageWP. I have to say with the Orion release, like I said, it made my life easier and I'm really happy with a lot of the bells and whistles that it has. So I'll jump in there in a minute. I'm going to go through the slides first, and then I'll stop sharing my slides, and then I'll pull open the Chrome browser and take a spin. So if you see something you shouldn't see, just ignore it. Browser. So here's my workflow, my basic workflow. I've got a nice little checklist for my dev to follow, but here's the basic workflow. We like to carry out maintenance once. I know this sounds so people go, oh, what? We like to carry out maintenance once a month for that client. So we split it up into 2 days, the 15th and the 30th of every month. And the reason we do that is because things are bound to change with updates. And if every day you're going there and you're running through my quality checklist, you're just going to waste a lot of time if you're updating Jetpack and then you're checking the site and checking back and making sure there's a backup or whatever. So it's really nice to kind of batch update. I found. Now, of course, when there's a security release, a plugin vulnerability, that gets taken care of and that gets updated right away. But I had someone come into my business recently to check out something, and she went, oh, this website has 14 plugins that need updated. And I said, well, yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day. So that's normally what happens. So we notify the client day before maintenance. Why? Because these people run a business. And so if for any reason they're sending traffic to their website, I don't want to screw that up. And they're going to know that. So if there's an issue, I just say in the email, email us back if we have to delay it for any reason. We batch update. We check the website before and we check the website after. Check the website on the front end, check the website in the admin after. So we make sure everything looks similar. Now, I think at one time I was like, should I take screenshots of every page? But I think we work on the websites enough that we're all familiar with what it should look like. So we usually eyeball it and then send a report. So I like to CC myself because it shows me that the report went through because I'm anal like that. And then so other tools for delivery in terms of carrying out maintenance, we do have a support desk. So people can email support at, and then it becomes a ticket. And then we use that ticket in our project management tool to make sure when it's completed, when the dev completes it, it reflects back in our support desk, and I can send an email, or the virtual assistant can send an email letting them know that everything's taken care of. So that support desk is really important. It makes it really smooth to carry out anything on top of the website maintenance. We also have a team communication tool. We use Slack, so we can ping back and forth. Thanks to Troy's inspiration, I hooked everything up to Zapier, and things happen magically. When things get tagged and things come in, magically these things happen. And in Slack, we get notified of certain things, like when a ticket has been completed and it should be checked and all that good stuff. So also task logging is really important. You can do this in a support desk typically, so you can know how much time the client's taking. So if they get 30 minutes a month, you'll know. Or I think even if you do unlimited tasks, I think it's really important to know what client is really absorbing a lot of your time. It's very important to know that, because then you can drop them if that's gets to that point. And then a password manager, so that you can go on vacation or you can share easily with your team, and it's a secure. So LastPass is something I use. Some people use 1Password. And then an email marketer for what I showed you there about sending out an email the day before without having to think about it. You can automate that through an email marketing system.
What are these vacations you keep talking about, Christine? Foreign concept.
Yes,
I don't understand what a vacation
I
is.
live and die for my vacations, Troy, as you see. Now, that's the biggest thing for me, because everyone has their hobbies. And I realized, Troy, after going back and forth on Facebook of admiring everyone's hobby, like biking and fishing and all these things, I realized my hobby is taking vacations. That's my hobby. My hobby. I don't have any better explanation than that.
That's a cool hobby.
That's my hobby. That's what I want to do. That's what I like to do all the time. So I just got back from Disney World with the family. And it was a simple trip. It was just like a 4-day trip. But yeah, I could take that easily, and it was fine. So, and there was a couple emergencies that came in. 2 sites went down. I know. It was just crazy. I was like, really? At Disney World? This has to happen? It never happens. This has to happen at Disney World? But luckily, I had my assistant at the time on it, and the developer on it, and they resolved it. But I was like, man, really, Disney World? Okay. So I didn't have to do anything, but it was in the back of my mind. So then tools for selling care plans, because this is really important. A lot of questions about this. I use WooCommerce and WooCommerce subscriptions because I think it's really important to have people on a recurring subscription model. Some people charge every year and then will invoice. I just don't want to invoice. I just don't want anything to do with invoicing. So yeah, sometimes they have to update their credit card, but that can be done through the WooCommerce account on the front end of your site. I like Stripe because it allows for recurring subscriptions. And then of course, if you want them to sign up on your site, you'll need that SSL certificate. So simple. Check out WooCommerce subscriptions and you'll see it's all in there. And I like month to month. I don't give discounts for yearly or multiple websites or anything like that, because I'm a curmudgeon and I can. I tell you, honestly, life is about seeing what other people will do. Like charging websites, you're like, wow, someone will pay $5,000 for a website. Well, then I won't make any less than $5,000. Same thing happened with website care plans. A person came to me and they just did not expect a discount for multiple websites. And so I thought, okay, moving forward, every site needs to be on a plan because one person did it. Anyway, so we have a download for the tools checklist. It just kind of goes over everything I said. So if you feel I went too fast with the slides, it's here in the download that you'll receive.
Man, I wish, can I just say, I wish this webinar was around 8 years ago when I started out in this space, because having checklists like this and knowing exactly, because I feel like I've spent the last 8 years trying to figure out which tools to use and actually put together a workflow,
Mm-hmm. And it's like the less tools, the better. And I think over time too, you just find the workflow, you find the system, and especially with this, that's why I'm really happy. I'll jump in there now. That's why I'm really happy with the ManageWP stuff, because it allows me to kind of stick with one tool, which makes things so friendly. Okay, so I'm going to jump in here to show you how I do what I do. Now, like I said, you're going to see my client site, so pretend you don't see it. Oh, the world, sharing it with the world. Alrighty. So if you guys aren't familiar with ManageWP, there's a couple of softwares out there for updating websites. And ManageWP did their release for this new version of Orion. Goodness, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so. Maybe Andy knows. But anyway, let me jump into me. Okay. So what's really neat is, and I purposely did not update my website so I could do it here. So what's cool about this, isn't it so shiny, Troy. And just
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Vlad and the team behind ManageWP have just done an exceptional job over the last 4 years. I mean, I've been using ManageWP since, pretty much since they started, and it's just been incredible to watch their evolution and their innovation behind this product. It's just unbelievable.
Well, and I know that there's a lot of thought into it specifically for what we're teaching. So it's not even just for, it's not for almost, it's like they made the improvements for the website freelancer almost to, to do these reports. Like I said, the client report, I mean, it's called client report. So it's not like your client's getting on here and creating a ManageWP plan. They're, it's for people like us doing these. So what are some of the features that I can't live without is these daily backups. So what's cool about this is even though the host is backing up, I'm a little obsessive with backups. And so I have a 3-pronged backup system. So even though this is on WP Engine, I still have my daily backups here. And then every 3 months or so, I'll pull off a backup and I'll put it on Dropbox. And you can actually send these automatically to Dropbox, these backups. Let's see here. You can go to settings and you can go down here and then upload to an external destination. So you can sync up your Dropbox or wherever and naturally upload an external. So then you have that 3-pronged backup solution, which is a really nice selling point as a value add. I mean, clients might not even know what that means, but you're like 3-pronged backup solution you get with the premium plan. And then that's what you would do for that. So it's really kind of cool. And then another thing is you can restore. So this is really important. What I do is I just make sure I have a backup. So when I do update, we can restore if something breaks or goes wrong. What I tend to do is, because it's just been so many years, is that we usually, and my dev does the same thing, we usually almost don't restore sometimes. Sometimes we just download and pull the plugin we know broke and put up the old version. That's normally what we do. So I like to have a recent backup for that reason, because you don't want to restore a day ago and restore the database, so you would just restore the files, or just download and put back up that plugin that broke. So this is a really fun thing, and it's really affordable to do the daily backups. I really like it. So the other cool things you can do is you can do regular security scans. So even just the free one alone allows you to run the security check on the site and it would show up in the report, or you can schedule them out for, you can buy a package for your sites. So then you have regular malware scanning, which is pretty helpful, right? So some people might be on a host that does that. Some people may not be on a host that does that. Some people might be on a host that does that, but they like the idea that you include it in your plan. So you can say regular malware scanning, and then you have that going every day. Now, we always run a security check before we send out the client report. So we just know that it's nice and clean. And after our updates, or before our updates, somewhere in the I think we do it twice, before updates and after updates. And then the same thing for performance. So you can run performance scan, and so you can keep that in the client reports, but also, again, scheduling. So there's a value add, regular performance scheduling. And you can also say something kind of fancy, like if you fall below something percent, we'll have unlimited tasks to improve your performance, and put that like in your higher plan or something like that. So those kind of feature ads are really nice for those value add-ons. So even though this might be $1 a site, your higher plan may be an extra $30 or $40. So there's a nice profit to that. And then, of course, there's uptime monitoring, which is $1 a month, and there's no free version for that. So what this will do is it'll notify you if there's downtime, and it actually can notify the client as well, I believe. I have a third party doing my uptime at the moment because I just have that plan over there at the moment. But it's really easy to, again, add on to the package here, and helpful to have that with an SMS text. Now, you can set it to be a threshold, because a lot of sites on certain hosts go down for a minute or two and come back up for site maintenance. So So really important if you want to be more attentive to your clients' needs and jump on downtime right away, especially if it's a big site. This would be a really good add-on for that. Now, one thing I don't do because I'm not an SEO person is I don't really include SEO reporting in my sites because I can't really do anything about it because I'm not an SEO person, nor do I offer those on part of my plans. But this is a great add-on. You can set the keywords and where they rank, and then they can include the rankings in the report so you can show how they've moved up their rankings, which is really helpful. And again, there are tools across the web that do all of this. I just like the fact that it's in one dashboard. Okay, so I also, before I get into client report, I also like the white labeling. I wonder if I can show an example of the white label here. So you rename the worker plugin, which is really fun. So you can call it whatever you want and the description for whatever you want and the author name and where it should link. So they would never even know that you have a plugin on the site that's from someone else. So it's really kind of cool because it shows you activate the plugin and then you're like, this is the plugin yeah, it's like my own thing, right? And then it gives you a little preview, which is kind of fun. Now, what I've also liked, but I have not activated, I don't know why I haven't activated this because I really love it, but it puts on a support button in the WordPress dashboard so that, again, I have my support desk and they can click a button in their WordPress admin and email me a support ticket, which is really easy. And I think the only reason I haven't done this yet is I haven't trained my clients. I was going to train my clients on doing that, but I have them pretty well trained. So I haven't had too many, people emailing the personal email with support requests. So I have them pretty well trained right now, but I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, you can prevent them from updating and installing the plugins and themes, and people have their own thoughts and opinions about that, which is kind of a nice thing if you're taking over the website and you're really taking over the admin role of it, to not allow them to update it. So that's pretty fun. So back to my maintenance. So we make sure we have a backup. We update all of the plugins. You can even select ones you want to ignore, and I always ignore WooCommerce because I like to update that on its own. And then you can clean up everything with spam comments and optimization and all that good stuff. I also like this because my developer only really needs my ManageWP account because he can access the admin for all of our sites from here. So even though we have the LastPass folder that has all the admin credentials, sometimes the password changes, sometimes it's not in there, I don't know. But I'll just be like, just go to Orion and log in there. And he's like, oh yeah, that's right. And he goes over here and he gets in there. So we can also deactivate and activate plugins here and do kind of stuff with the themes, and it's really, really friendly. Handle users and all that good stuff, which is really fun. All right, so that's kind of how you can get all those value adds, all those value features in your care plan, and then the client report is really, really fun. My favorite thing about the client report is scheduling the client report. So what we have is a template. So I have 3 kinds of templates in here. I have my monthly client reports, and then I have the clients that come on for the very first time. The report looks a little different. And then I have these things called boost clients, and they're the people who are not really on a plan, but they pay a lot of money to update the website every 6 months. So they might as well be on plan, but don't tell them that. So monthly client report automatically puts in my template information. And then I go, see, it's all pre-populated from the template I created for my monthly client report. And then it generates the client report. So easy. So by the time my dev is complete with all the updates and the site's good and it's secure and performing well, the VA can come in here and create a report. And then what's cool is if you click send to client, this one isn't pre-populated, but for all of our clients, it has the client information. She added in all the clients to the client section. So you can send an email as myself. Send an email as myself. And then all these are pre-populated with client name and their address. So as long as I'm in their website, it's all in there. I don't have to do anything. Or she doesn't have to do anything. And then we have a pre-formed email because of our template. So it's really super easy. But like I said, the cool feature is actually scheduling it out. So you can hit scheduling. And then, of course, you have to set up your clients, but then you can schedule to send out the report without you doing anything. And there is a nice feature that says don't send if there's a security scan that's a bad one, like if it's been compromised in any way. And then there's also a setting that says I just want to approve it before it goes out, every single one. So I just approve it for every single one before it goes out. So it naturally generates on the day that I wanted to, and then I just approve it. So really fancy schmancy. And then, like I said, I just have all the clients in here, and under the clients are all their websites. So it's really fun and easy. So as far as value goes, if you add on enough value, the actual carrying out of the maintenance of watching it, security scans, updating everything, it can be pretty smooth when using this tool. And my favorite thing is the reports, because I can go back and I can see if something broke on the site, what plugin that was and when it was updated. And then we can download the backup and just restore that plugin. Because that's typically what goes wrong when updating websites, is that the plugin author didn't update his plugin to match the latest release of WordPress, or there's a conflict with another plugin, and it's just always a plugin problem. I should have a t-shirt, Troy, that says always a plugin problem. That's what it is. So, I mean, it just 9 times out of 10, that's what it is. So, so having a report of what plugins were updated, and then having the backups to say, okay, this backup is from when before that plugin was updated, and we'll pull off that file from the download and toss it up there. So, and some hostings, Troy, with their backups, you can't even download the backup. You can only restore it.
Mm-hmm.
So, if people are like, oh, well, my host has backups, make sure you can actually download it and pull out a plugin, because chances are, at least I know the ones I'm thinking of I'm not going to call them out, but, it's just, so you need that regular backups and daily backups, in my personal opinion.
Absolutely.
It's worth it. So, so anyway, I'm going to keep this behind my keynote just in case someone has a question about it.
It's so good. The Orion it's just changed the game again. I mean, ManageWP was a game changer, but Orion is just, I remember when Vlad first started talking to me about this client reporting thing, and I knew it was going to be a game changer, and it just makes it so easy now. There's just no excuse not to be doing this.
I agree. And I don't say that because, I mean, I don't point at this and say it lightly. I mean, I am serious about saying that this is the best solution, and I do get very defensive about it to other people.
By the way, we're not getting paid by
We're not getting paid. By the way, yes.
There's no affiliate links here, okay?
No, none at all. No, and I love the people over there. It's great support and very kind people, and they've been really trying to improve the product and really receptive to feedback. Yeah. So I'm sure there'll be some other things that are going to pop up in terms of feature releases that may help our care plan thing. But it's important to know what are the premium add-ons for ManageWP in order to know what your premium add-ons of your care plan should be. That if they're a premium add-on in ManageWP, maybe they shouldn't be in your basic plan. Maybe they shouldn't be in your lowest plan. Maybe they should be in your middle of a higher plan. So that's a kind of a good gauge in many ways. All right. So live
cool.
Q&A.
So, let's do some questions. So the way this works, guys, is if you've got a headset and again, just to loop back a little bit, like the point here is to streamline your processes and optimize your processes within the business so that you can continue to deliver value to your clients, but make it profitable, because you actually owe it to yourself and your clients to run a profitable business. Because if you're not running a profitable business, you won't be able to sustain yourself and you won't be able to continue to serve those clients. Mm-hmm. Don't feel bad about making profit.
Yeah, it's true, because it doesn't help your client if you're not there in 6 months.
Exactly.
It doesn't help. And I know plenty of people get overwhelmed by the feast or famine that they quit themselves and they go get a full-time job someplace else. So your clients keep you in business. And
I know Christine is the same. I'm really passionate about having your own small business, because I just think it gives you freedom and it gives you choices and it gives you the ability and the flexibility to have the lifestyle that you want. It's funny, I interviewed, not to name drop, but I interviewed Michael Gerber the other week, about a week ago, who wrote The E-Myth Revisited. Fantastic book. He's got a new book coming out. We're going to post that up on the podcast in a couple of days. And he was talking about the fact that small business really is a very empowering thing. If you have your own small business, you have those choices and you have the ability to choose to live the life that you want, work the hours you want, work with the clients you want. You know, you being in control is a very empowering thing. It also has its challenges, you know, so as we all know. So that's why we're here, to try and help you guys have a sustainable, profitable business. Okay. So has anyone got any other questions? I feel like we should be respectful of people's time. We've been here almost an hour and a half now.
Yes, which is perfect.
Just wondering if anyone has any final questions. Otherwise, we might wrap this up. And just know that Andy is going to email you guys give us 48 to 72 hours to get this stuff all hosted up and you know, made pretty and all edited and stuff. And you'll get a link to the replay of this webinar. You'll also get a link to the downloads that we mentioned in this webinar. So you'll have all of the downloads that Christina's walked us through. And you'll also have the slides. We'll make sure the slides are embedded on that replay page. So you'll have access to everything here. Your job is to take action on this stuff. Yes. Download this, implement it, take action. We would love to hear from you guys as to how you've gone with this training and how you've gone implementing care plans.
Yes.
You know, you can hit GoDaddy up on Twitter. You can find me at Troy Dean on Twitter. Christina is KRMD. Is that right on Twitter?
At Christina Romero on Twitter.
Oh, there you go. At Christina Romero on Twitter. So we would love to hear from you guys on Twitter. We'd love to hear your feedback on this webinar. And we'd also love to hear how you've gone with implementing this stuff and any challenges you've had or any success stories you've had, because we love to hear and we love to see how this stuff gets applied in the wild.
Perfect. Yay.
Cool. So any final thoughts, Christina?
You know, I'll put it this way. I know people are going to step away from this, and the biggest challenge will be actually, it won't be putting up your plans. It won't be figuring out what's in your plans or even even carrying out the maintenance. It'll be moving clients onto a plan. And I just want to encourage everyone to take action. You just you got to send the email. And it's like, puts your heart in your throat and your heart's beating. You're like, what if, just send the email. The worst thing that can happen is that you lose a difficult client. Then you don't hear from difficult clients anymore, but the clients that respect you, that find value in you, will move on to a plan. I've seen it happen, and it's a common story. So yeah.
And the best thing that happens is you end up with some more recurring revenue in your business that you didn't have yesterday, which is an awesome thing. It means that you can, your plug-in licenses are covered, or some of your staff costs are covered. And as Christina said, the worst thing is you'll lose a client who's not profitable anyway. So, it's okay every now and then to fire a client, or to just amicably kind of part ways and say, hey, we're not right for each other anymore. Let's just move on. It's perfectly fine to do that. Don't feel bad if you can't continue to service clients.
It's true. Very true.
All right. Hey, cool. Hey, Christina, thank you so much for all of the value you've given us in this webinar. I'm continually blown away by how you've taken this stuff and just completely run with it and owned it and become the queen of care plans.
I got everything from you, buddy.
And thank you, Andy, and the guys at GoDaddy for having us and hosting us here. Really appreciate it. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon, hopefully on a webinar. Send us a tweet. Let us know what you want to learn next. We're always looking for ideas on putting some more educational content together for you guys. So if that's all we've got, then we'll have a great afternoon or a great evening or a great morning wherever you are around the world. And we look forward to seeing you on one of these calls again soon.
That's good.
Take care now. Bye.